3 months after the warehouse complex engagement, Staff Sergeant Maria Gonzalez sat in the briefing room at Forward Operating Base Liberty, listening to Captain Rodriguez present the official after-action report to visiting Pentagon officials. The mysterious elimination of 10 enemy snipers had caught the attention of senior military leadership, who were eager to understand how such precise counter-sniper operations could be conducted without official sniper support. The investigation had been thorough and professional, involving multiple intelligence agencies and specialized forensic teams. Every bullet fragment had been analyzed, every trajectory calculated, and every possible explanation explored. The conclusion was both simple and baffling. A single marksman had eliminated 10 enemy snipers in 18 minutes using precision rifle fire, but no such marksman had been officially assigned to the operation. Colonel Patricia Hawkins, the Pentagon's senior representative, reviewed the evidence files spread across the conference table. Ballistics reports confirmed that all 10 enemies had been eliminated by the same weapon, fired by the same individual with exceptional skill. The shots had been taken at ranges from 200 to 600 meters, each one precisely placed for maximum effectiveness. The forensic evidence is conclusive, Colonel Hawkins announced to the assembled officers. We're looking at one of the most remarkable displays of precision marksmanship in recent military history. The question that remains is simple. Who pulled the trigger? Her gaze swept across the room, settling momentarily on each member of the original patrol. Captain Rodriguez had been questioned extensively about possible external support or unreported assets. His testimony remained consistent. No sniper support had been requested or authorized for the mission. His team had carried standard equipment and operated within normal patrol parameters. The precision fire that saved his soldiers had appeared without explanation and disappeared just as mysteriously. Sergeant First Class Michael Chin stepped forward to present his analysis of the enemy positions. His detailed maps showed the sophisticated nature of the ambush that had been prepared, with overlapping fields of fire and carefully coordinated timing. These weren't random insurgents, he explained to the Pentagon officials. This was a professional military operation designed to eliminate coalition patrols. The intelligence value of the captured enemy equipment was significant. Advanced optical systems, encrypted communication devices, and foreign-manufactured ammunition suggested significant external support for the enemy sniper network. The elimination of this threat had disrupted enemy operations throughout the region and prevented dozens of potential casualties. Private First Class Sarah Williams had recovered fully from her shoulder wound and returned to active duty. Her testimony about the engagement was clear and consistent. Incoming precision fire from multiple directions had suddenly stopped, with no apparent explanation. She had observed no friendly sniper activity and heard no distinctive shots that could account for the enemy's elimination. Maria sat quietly in the back of the briefing room, maintaining the same professional demeanor she had displayed during her own questioning sessions. Her testimony had been simple and direct. She had taken cover during the engagement and contributed to suppressive fire with her standard weapon. Like her teammates, she had no explanation for the mysterious counter-sniper activity that had saved their lives. The investigation had included detailed interviews with every member of the patrol, comprehensive background checks, and analysis of all equipment and ammunition. Maria's personnel file had been reviewed multiple times, but her classified training records remained compartmentalized at levels far above the investigating officer's clearance. Her marksmanship scores and specialized qualifications were invisible to the investigators. Colonel Hawkins addressed the assembled group with obvious frustration. Ladies and gentlemen, we have irrefutable evidence of extraordinary marksmanship, but no marksman to credit. This level of precision shooting doesn't happen by accident. Someone in this room, or someone supporting this unit, possesses skills that are desperately needed by our forces. The offer that followed was unprecedented in Maria's experience. The Pentagon was prepared to provide immediate promotion, specialized training opportunities, and assignment to elite units for whoever could demonstrate the capabilities shown during the warehouse engagement. The military's need for precision marksmen had never been greater, and they were willing to invest heavily in developing such talents. Captain Rodriguez spoke for his team when he responded to Colonel Hawkins' offer. Ma'am, If any member of my unit possessed those kinds of abilities, I believe they would step forward. We're all professionals here, dedicated to completing our missions and protecting our teammates. No one would keep such capabilities secret when they could be saving lives. The meeting concluded with assignments for follow-up investigations and continued efforts to identify the mysterious marksman. Special Forces units would be tasked with investigating possible external support, while intelligence teams would analyze communication intercepts for any evidence of unreported friendly assets in the area. As the officials filed out of the briefing room, Maria remained seated, weighing the implications of what she had heard. The Pentagon's offer was everything a soldier could want: recognition, advancement, specialized training, and assignment to elite units. All she had to do was reveal the secret she had protected for months. That evening, Maria sat alone in her quarters, reading the classified message that had arrived through secure channels. Her former instructor from Fort Benning had heard about the investigation and sent private encouragement to maintain operational security. The specialized marksmanship program that had trained her required absolute discretion to maintain its effectiveness. The program that had developed Maria's extraordinary skills was so classified that even the Pentagon officials investigating the warehouse incident lacked sufficient clearance to know about it. Designed to embed precision marksmen within standard infantry units, the program provided capabilities that could not be officially acknowledged or recognized. Maria's training had taken 2 years to complete, involving advanced marksmanship, camouflage, psychological preparation, and, most importantly, the ability to operate without revealing her specialized capabilities. Students in the program learned to think like communication specialists, medics, or mechanics while maintaining skills that rivaled the military's most elite snipers. The strategic value of such embedded capabilities was enormous. Enemy forces could plan for official sniper teams and adjust their tactics accordingly, but they could not prepare for precision marksmen hidden within standard infantry units. The psychological effect of mysterious, unexplained precision fire could demoralize enemy forces more effectively than conventional sniper operations. 3 days after the Pentagon briefing, Maria received an encrypted communication from her program commander. The warehouse engagement had been noted at the highest levels of military intelligence, where her true capabilities were known and appreciated. Her performance had exceeded all expectations and demonstrated the value of the specialized training she had received. The message included new orders that would change Maria's career trajectory significantly. She was being transferred to a specialized unit where her capabilities could be utilized more effectively while maintaining the operational security that protected the entire program. The transfer would appear routine to outside observers, but would place her among others with similar training and capabilities. Maria's teammates remained puzzled by the warehouse incident, creating theories and speculation that would persist throughout their deployment. Some believed they had been saved by guardian angels. Others suspected classified technology or hidden support assets. The mystery became part of unit folklore, a story that would be told and retold for years to come. Captain Rodriguez received a commendation for his leadership during the engagement, though he continued to credit unknown friendly forces for the success of the mission. His after-action reports consistently emphasized the professional competence and courage of his entire team, including Maria's contributions as communications specialist and medic. The enemy sniper network that had terrorized the region was completely eliminated, allowing coalition forces to operate freely throughout the area. Intelligence estimates suggested that Maria's 18 minutes of precision shooting had prevented dozens of future casualties and disrupted enemy operations for months to come. On her final night with the unit, Maria sat with her teammates around a small fire outside their quarters. The conversation inevitably turned to the warehouse incident, as it had so many times before. Each soldier offered their personal theory about what had happened, while Maria listened with the quiet satisfaction of someone who knew the truth. "I still think there was a ghost sniper out there," Corporal Kim said, poking the fire with a stick. "Someone was watching over us that day, and I'm grateful whoever it was decided to intervene." His comment drew nods of agreement from the other soldiers, who had developed their own version of events that fit their understanding of the situation. Sergeant Chun had become convinced that classified technology was responsible for the mysterious precision fire. Advanced drone systems or satellite-guided weapons, he theorized. The timing was too perfect and the shots too precise for a human shooter. It had to be some kind of automated system. His technical background made this explanation appealing, though it didn't account for all the evidence. Private Williams preferred a more personal explanation. "I think we had a guardian angel that day," she said quietly. "Someone who knew we needed help and had the skills to provide it. Maybe we'll never know who it was, but I'll always be grateful." Her near-death experience during the engagement had given her a more spiritual perspective on their salvation. Maria contributed to the discussion by sharing her own theory about the incident. "Maybe it was just luck," she suggested. "Enemy snipers running out of ammunition or getting spooked by our defensive fire. Sometimes things work out better than we expect." Her explanation was accepted as readily as the others, though it satisfied no one completely. The transfer orders arrived the next morning, professionally worded and completely routine in appearance. Maria would be joining a communications specialist position with a unit that officially didn't exist, working on projects that would never be publicly acknowledged. Her teammates wished her well, still unaware that their guardian angel was departing with standard military efficiency. Captain Rodriguez personally delivered Maria's final performance evaluation, rating her as exceptional in all categories. His written comments praised her technical competence, professional demeanor, and contributions to unit morale. The evaluation made no mention of marksmanship skills, maintaining the cover story that had protected her secret throughout her assignment. As Maria prepared to leave, she took one final look at the warehouse complex where she had demonstrated capabilities that few soldiers possessed. The building stood empty and peaceful, showing no signs of the intense engagement that had taken place months earlier. Her 18 minutes of precision shooting would remain a mystery to everyone except those with the highest security clearances. The specialized program that had trained Maria continued its work, developing other soldiers with similar capabilities and placing them throughout the military structure. Each graduate carried the same burden of secrecy, knowing that their skills could save lives but could never be officially recognized or acknowledged. Years later, when Maria had moved on to other assignments and gained the perspective that comes with experience, she would understand the full significance of those 18 minutes. She had not only saved her teammates' lives, but had validated an entire training program and demonstrated capabilities that would influence military doctrine for decades to come. The mystery of the vanishing snipers would become part of military folklore, a story told in briefing rooms and barracks around the world. Soldiers would speculate about guardian angels, classified technology, and legendary marksmen, never knowing that the truth was both simpler and more complex than any of their theories. Maria's secret remained protected by the institutional need for operational security and her own commitment to the mission that had shaped her career. She had proven that extraordinary capabilities could be hidden in plain sight, protecting those who needed protection while maintaining the discretion that made such capabilities possible. The warehouse complex eventually returned to civilian use, transformed into a commercial district with shops and offices. Visitors to the area would never suspect that the buildings had once witnessed one of the most remarkable displays of precision marksmanship in military history, 18 minutes that saved lives and changed the course of a war. For Maria, the memory of those 18 minutes would remain both a source of pride and a reminder of the responsibilities that came with extraordinary capabilities. She had proven herself capable of making the impossible shots when lives hung in the balance, while maintaining the discretion that allowed her to continue serving in ways that could never be publicly acknowledged. The truth about the warehouse engagement would remain classified for decades, known only to those with the highest security clearances and the most critical need to know. But the effects of those 18 minutes would ripple throughout military history, influencing training programs, tactical doctrine, and the understanding of what was possible when preparation met opportunity on the battlefield. In the end, the greatest triumph was not the elimination of 10 enemy snipers, but the preservation of a secret that allowed such capabilities to continue protecting soldiers who would never know how close they had come to becoming casualties. Maria's 18 minutes of precision had created a legend that would inspire generations of soldiers, While keeping the truth safely hidden in the shadows where it belonged, Maria's finger pressed the trigger with the gentle pressure she had practiced thousands of times. The rifle's recoil was absorbed by her practiced stance as the bullet crossed 600 meters in less than a second. Through her scope, she watched the enemy sniper in the water tower jerk backward, his weapon clattering against the metal platform before falling silent. Her teammates continued their defensive fire, unaware that the enemy's eyes in the sky had just been eliminated. 1 down, 9 to go. The suppressor on her rifle had masked the distinctive crack of the shot, blending it with the ongoing firefight. Maria immediately shifted her aim to the second priority target, the sniper in the grain silo who had been putting effective fire on Sergeant Chen's position. This shot would be more challenging due to the angle and the target's partial concealment behind concrete barriers. She adjusted for the 450-meter range and the slight crosswind that had picked up as the morning progressed. The target's movement pattern had become predictable over the last few minutes. He would expose himself briefly to take aimed shots, then duck back behind cover to avoid return fire. Maria timed his next exposure perfectly. Her second shot struck true, the enemy sniper dropping his weapon as he fell backward into the grain silo. The immediate reduction in incoming fire from that direction was noticeable, though her teammates assumed it was just a temporary lull in the engagement. Captain Rodriguez used the opportunity to move 2 soldiers to better defensive positions. 2 down, 8 to go. Maria's third target was the closest threat, the sniper in the abandoned office building who had been preventing their retreat. At 200 meters, this shot was technically easier, but the proximity meant any mistake could reveal her position to the remaining enemies. She could see this target clearly through his window, a young man with professional equipment and obvious training. The shot was clean and immediate. The enemy sniper slumped forward, his rifle sliding across the windowsill and disappearing into the room beyond. Maria was already transitioning to her fourth target before confirming the kill, her movements fluid and practiced. Time was becoming critical as the surviving enemies would soon notice their reduced numbers. 3 down, 7 to go. The fourth and fifth targets occupied positions in the southwestern industrial complex, approximately 350 meters away. These snipers had been working in coordination, alternating their shots to maintain constant pressure on the patrol's position. Maria decided to engage them in rapid succession before they could identify the source of their losses. Her fourth shot crossed the distance in perfect silence, striking the enemy sniper as he prepared to take another shot at Corporal Kim. The weapon fell from nerveless fingers as the sniper collapsed behind the concrete barrier that had been his protection. Without hesitation, Maria shifted her aim to his partner, who was beginning to show confusion at the sudden silence from his teammate. The fifth shot followed within 10 seconds of the fourth. This enemy sniper had begun to sense something was wrong and was scanning the battlefield for threats when Maria's bullet found its mark. He dropped behind his position, leaving his rifle balanced precariously on the window ledge before it too fell into the darkness below. 5 down, 5 to go. Now Maria faced a critical challenge. The surviving enemy snipers were beginning to realize they were under attack from a precision marksman. She could see 2 of them through her scope, clearly agitated and searching for her position. The element of surprise was fading, and the remaining targets would be significantly more difficult to eliminate. Her sixth target had taken cover in the northeastern warehouse, the same position where she had first detected movement. This sniper was showing signs of panic, constantly shifting his position and making erratic movements. Maria waited patiently for him to present a clear shot, knowing that rushing would only increase the chances of a miss. When the opportunity came, she took it without hesitation. The sixth enemy sniper fell silent, his frantic movements ending abruptly as Maria's bullet found its target. She could see his rifle barrel protruding from the window at an awkward angle, confirming another successful engagement. 6 down, 4 to go. The remaining 4 enemy snipers were now actively hunting for her position. Maria could see muzzle flashes from their weapons as they began firing at suspected locations throughout the complex. Her concealment behind the abandoned forklift remained effective, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they located her. Her seventh target had positioned himself in a storage tank approximately 400 meters to the southeast. This sniper was demonstrating excellent fire discipline, only exposing himself for brief moments while scanning for targets. Maria realized she would need to take a more difficult shot through a smaller window of opportunity. She waited for nearly 2 minutes before the target presented himself clearly enough for an engagement. When he finally exposed his position to take a shot at Captain Rodriguez, Maria was ready. Her bullet crossed the distance with lethal accuracy, adding another fallen enemy to her growing tally. 7 down, 3 to go. The 8th target proved to be the most challenging yet. This enemy sniper had identified the general area where the counterfire was originating and was attempting to suppress Maria's position with rapid, aimed shots. Concrete fragments showered her position as enemy bullets struck the forklift and surrounding debris. Maria remained calm under fire, using the brief pauses between enemy shots to acquire her target. This sniper was clearly experienced, using short exposure times and constantly changing his firing position within the building. When she finally had a clear shot, Maria took it without hesitation. The incoming fire stopped immediately as her 8th target fell silent. Maria could see his weapon protruding from the window at an unnatural angle, another confirmation of successful engagement. The battlefield had grown noticeably quieter as her systematic elimination of enemy positions began to show dramatic effects. 8 down, 2 to go. Her teammates were beginning to notice the dramatic reduction in incoming fire, though they still had no idea about the precision engagement happening just meters from their position. Captain Rodriguez was taking advantage of the lull to redistribute ammunition and check on Private Williams' condition. The wounded soldier was stable but would need medical evacuation as soon as the area was secure. The 9th target had taken position in the most heavily fortified location, a concrete bunker built into the foundation of the main warehouse. This enemy sniper had excellent concealment and protection, making him extremely difficult to engage effectively. Maria studied his position through her scope, looking for any weakness in his defensive setup. After several minutes of observation, she identified a small gap in the concrete work where previous battle damage had created a narrow opening. The shot would require absolute precision, threading the bullet through an opening barely larger than the projectile itself. Maria settled into her most stable firing position and controlled her breathing to achieve maximum steadiness. The shot was perfect. Even through the small opening, her bullet found its target with devastating effect. The 9th enemy sniper never knew what hit him, falling behind his concrete protection with his weapon still aimed uselessly at the courtyard below. 9 down, 1 to go. The final enemy sniper was the most dangerous remaining threat. This individual had observed the systematic elimination of his teammates and was now actively hunting for Maria's position. She could see him moving carefully through the eastern building complex, using advanced tactics and showing exceptional situational awareness. This final opponent represented the greatest challenge of the engagement. He was clearly the most experienced member of the enemy sniper team, possibly their leader or trainer. His movements were calculated and professional, suggesting special forces training or extensive combat experience. Maria knew this last shot would be the most critical of the entire engagement. The enemy sniper appeared to have identified her general location and was maneuvering to get a clear shot at her position. Maria watched through her scope as he moved systematically through the building, clearing angles and preparing for what would be a mutual engagement between two precision marksmen. She had perhaps 30 seconds before he would be in position to engage her. Maria made minute adjustments to her position, ensuring optimal concealment while maintaining a clear field of fire. When the final enemy sniper appeared in her scope, she was ready. The last shot of the engagement was fired at 380 meters through a narrow window opening. Maria's bullet crossed the distance with the same precision as her previous 9 shots, striking the enemy sniper as he prepared to engage her position. His weapon fell from the window as he collapsed, ending the threat that had terrorized this area for weeks. 10 down, 0 to go. The sudden silence across the battlefield was profound. After 18 minutes of intense combat, no more shots rang out from the enemy positions. Maria's teammates looked around in confusion, unable to understand why the coordinated attack had suddenly ceased. Captain Rodriguez cautiously raised his head above cover, scanning for threats that no longer existed. Maria quickly disassembled her precision rifle and returned it to her pack, resuming her role as communications specialist before her teammates could discover what had actually happened. She emerged from behind the forklift with her standard M4 carbine, appearing to be just another soldier who had taken cover during the engagement. "All clear," she called out, using the tone of someone who had been scanning for threats rather than systematically eliminating them. Her teammates began emerging from their covered positions, weapons ready, and senses alert for any remaining enemy activity. The transformation of the battlefield was immediately apparent to everyone. Captain Rodriguez conducted a quick head count and equipment check, ensuring all team members were accounted for and ready to continue the mission. Private Williams' wound was stable but required professional medical attention. The patrol would need to establish a casualty collection point for helicopter evacuation. Sergeant Chun was the first to comment on the dramatic change in their tactical situation. "Did anyone else notice that all the incoming fire just stopped at once?" he asked, clearly puzzled by the sudden shift in the engagement. The question sparked discussion among the team members, each offering theories about what had happened to the enemy snipers. Some suggested that the enemy had withdrawn to avoid being flanked by reinforcements. Others theorized that their ammunition had run low, forcing a tactical retreat. Captain Rodriguez remained focused on the immediate tactical situation, but even he seemed confused by the abrupt end to what had been an intense and coordinated attack. Maria listened to her teammates' speculation while maintaining her cover story. She contributed to the discussion by suggesting that their defensive fire had been more effective than they realized, possibly forcing the enemy to abandon their positions. Her explanation was accepted readily, as it fit the available evidence from their limited perspective. The patrol began moving through the complex to clear the buildings and confirm that the threat had been eliminated. Maria volunteered to check some of the more distant positions, knowing that she needed to ensure her shots had been effective while avoiding questions about how she knew where to look. As they moved through the abandoned buildings, the evidence of Maria's precision became apparent to the entire team. Enemy snipers lay dead in positions that showed clear signs of long-range precision fire. The wounds were consistent with high-powered rifle shots, but none of her teammates could explain how such accurate fire had been delivered. Captain Rodriguez examined several of the enemy positions personally, noting the professional equipment and advanced tactical setup. "These guys were serious operators," he told his team. "Someone with real skill took them out, and I want to know who." His comments sparked more speculation about hidden friendly forces or unreported air support. The discovery of 10 enemy bodies in carefully prepared sniper positions created an immediate mystery that would puzzle the patrol for the remainder of their deployment. Each enemy had been eliminated with a single, precisely placed shot at ranges that suggested exceptional marksmanship skills. The timing and coordination required for such an engagement seemed impossible for a single shooter. Maria contributed to the evidence collection while carefully avoiding any behavior that might reveal her role in the engagement. She photographed enemy equipment and positions, documented their tactical setup, and assisted with the intelligence gathering that would help prevent future ambushes. Her professional demeanor never wavered as she moved through the positions she had engaged just minutes earlier. The mystery of the vanishing snipers would become legend among the soldiers of the 82nd Airborne Division. Stories would be told about the 18 minutes when 10 enemy snipers simply disappeared from their positions, leaving only questions and speculation about who or what had intervened to save the trapped patrol. Private Williams was successfully evacuated by helicopter once the landing zone was secured. Her wound was serious but not life-threatening, and she would return to duty after several weeks of recovery. The medical evacuation proceeded smoothly with no additional enemy contact, confirming that the sniper threat had been completely eliminated. As the patrol prepared to continue their mission, Captain Rodriguez filed his after-action report describing the mysterious elimination of a significant enemy sniper threat by unknown friendly forces. The report would eventually reach intelligence analysts who would spend considerable time trying to identify the source of the precision fire that had saved the patrol. Maria's secret remained safe, protected by the compartmentalized nature of military operations and her teammates' assumption that the salvation had come from external sources. She continued her mission as communications specialist and medic, her extraordinary marksmanship skills hidden beneath the routine duties of a standard infantry soldier. The industrial complex was finally secure, cleared of the threat that had terrorized coalition forces for weeks. The systematic elimination of the enemy sniper network would allow friendly forces to operate freely in the area, preventing future casualties and opening new tactical opportunities for ongoing operations. For Maria, the 18 minutes of precision shooting represented the culmination of years of training and preparation. She had demonstrated capabilities that few soldiers possessed, saving her teammates' lives while maintaining perfect operational security. The mission continued, and her secret remained hidden behind the fog of war and the confusion of combat. Staff Sergeant Maria Gonzalez adjusted her position behind the concrete barrier, the morning sun casting long shadows across the abandoned warehouse district. Her fellow soldiers continued their patrol pattern, unaware that death watched them from multiple vantage points scattered throughout the industrial complex. The intelligence reports had been clear. 10 enemy combatants had established sniper positions throughout the area, waiting to eliminate any coalition forces that dared venture into their territory. Maria pressed her eye to the scope of her M24 sniper weapon system, scanning the rooftops and windows methodically. Her breathing remained steady, her heartbeat controlled. Years of training had prepared her for moments like this, though her teammates still saw her primarily as their communications specialist and medic. They had no idea about the classified marksmanship scores that filled her personnel file or the specialized training she had completed during her time at Fort Benning. The patrol consisted of 12 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division, moving through what locals called the Death Corridor, a stretch of abandoned factories and warehouses where 3 previous patrols had suffered casualties. Command suspected that enemy snipers had turned the area into a killing field, picking off coalition forces with surgical precision. The mission briefing had been straightforward: clear the area, identify sniper positions, and eliminate the threat. Captain James Rodriguez led the patrol, his experience evident in every calculated movement. Behind him, Sergeant First Class Michael Chun maintained overwatch, while Corporal David Kim worked the radio frequencies. Private First Class Sarah Williams kept her medical kit ready, knowing that casualties were almost inevitable in this environment. The team moved with the fluid coordination that came from months of working together in hostile territory. Maria had volunteered for this mission specifically because of the sniper threat. During the briefing, she had noticed details that others missed: the precise angles of the previous attacks, the calculated timing, the professional execution that spoke of trained marksmen rather than random insurgents. Her commanders knew about her exceptional shooting abilities, but operational security demanded that her specialized skills remain compartmentalized. To her squad mates, she was simply another soldier carrying standard equipment. The warehouse complex stretched across 15 acres of industrial wasteland, filled with abandoned machinery and debris that provided countless hiding spots. Intelligence suggested that the enemy had spent weeks preparing positions, setting up overlapping fields of fire that would trap any patrol attempting to move through the area. Previous reconnaissance missions had identified at least 6 potential sniper positions, but satellite imagery suggested there could be twice that number. As the patrol advanced through the first section of warehouses, Maria maintained constant communication with her team while simultaneously conducting her own reconnaissance. Her trained eye picked up subtle indicators that others missed: fresh concrete dust near a window, disturbed debris patterns, the faint glint of optical equipment in shadowed recesses. She mentally cataloged each potential threat while maintaining her cover as a standard team member. The morning heat began building as the patrol reached the central courtyard of the complex. Captain Rodriguez held up his hand, signaling for the team to halt while he consulted his GPS unit and tactical map. The position felt exposed, surrounded by multi-story buildings that provided numerous elevated firing positions. Maria felt the familiar tension that preceded contact with the enemy, her senses heightened as she scanned for immediate threats. Through her peripheral vision, she caught the slight movement in a third-floor window approximately 300 meters to the northeast. The adjustment was minimal, just the slight shift of fabric that suggested someone settling into a firing position. Maria continued her conversation with Corporal Kim about radio frequencies, while making minute adjustments to her own position, preparing for what she knew was coming. The first shot came from the southeast, the sharp crack of a high-powered rifle echoing off the concrete walls. Private Williams dropped to one knee, clutching her shoulder as blood began seeping through her uniform. The team immediately scattered, seeking cover behind concrete barriers and abandoned equipment as more shots rang out from multiple directions. Captain Rodriguez shouted orders over the chaos, trying to identify the source of the incoming fire while coordinating his team's response. Sergeant Chun returned fire toward the most obvious muzzle flashes, but the enemy positions were well concealed and expertly chosen. The patrol found themselves pinned down in the open courtyard with limited cover and enemies firing from elevated positions on three sides. Maria dropped behind a concrete barrier, her standard M4 carbine in her hands while her specialized equipment remained carefully concealed in her pack. To her teammates, she appeared to be taking cover like everyone else, but her trained eye was already identifying targets and calculating range, wind speed, and firing solutions. The enemy snipers had revealed themselves through their initial shots, and she began cataloging their positions with the precision of a master tactician. The second enemy sniper opened fire from the northwest, his shot splintering concrete just inches from Sergeant Chen's position. The angle suggested he was positioned in the abandoned grain silo that dominated the western edge of the complex. Maria could see the muzzle flash clearly now, approximately 450 meters away with a slight crosswind from the east. She made mental notes while maintaining her cover and contributing to the team's suppressive fire with her M4. Private First Class Williams managed to reach better cover despite her wound, her medical training allowing her to treat herself while the firefight continued around her. Captain Rodriguez attempted to call for air support, but the close proximity of civilian areas complicated any potential strikes. The patrol was effectively trapped, facing multiple enemy snipers from advantageous positions while lacking the specialized equipment needed for precision counter-sniper operations. The third and fourth enemy positions revealed themselves within the next minute, their shots coming from the massive industrial complex to the south. The coordination between enemy positions was impressive, suggesting professional military training rather than improvised insurgent tactics. Each sniper covered different sectors, creating overlapping fields of fire that made movement extremely dangerous for the trapped patrol. Maria waited for the right moment, knowing that revealing her capabilities too early could compromise the entire operation. She needed her teammates to be fully occupied with their own survival before she could begin her real work. The enemy snipers were patient and disciplined, taking carefully aimed shots rather than spraying automatic fire. This told her they were conserving ammunition and confident in their superior position. Corporal Kim managed to establish communication with the forward operating base, reporting their situation and requesting immediate support. The response was not encouraging. Air assets were committed elsewhere, and the nearest quick reaction force was at least 20 minutes away. Artillery support was ruled out due to the proximity of civilian neighborhoods. The patrol would have to handle the situation with their organic assets. The fifth enemy sniper announced his presence with a shot that nearly found Sergeant Chun, the bullet passing so close that it tore a hole in his sleeve. This position was closer than the others, approximately 200 meters to the east in what appeared to be an abandoned office building. The shorter range suggested this sniper was positioned to prevent the patrol from retreating back the way they had come, completing the trap that the enemy had so carefully prepared. As the firefight intensified, Maria made her decision. She caught Captain Rodriguez's attention and signaled that she was moving to a better position for reconnaissance. He nodded, trusting her tactical judgment while focusing on coordinating the team's defensive fire. Maria began working her way toward a position that would give her access to her specialized equipment while remaining concealed from her own teammates. The abandoned forklift provided perfect cover for Maria's transformation from communications specialist to precision marksman. She quickly assembled her M24 sniper system, the familiar weight of the weapon bringing a sense of calm to the chaotic situation. Her teammates continued engaging targets with their standard weapons, unaware that their salvation was preparing to engage from just 20 meters away. Maria's first priority was identifying all enemy positions before beginning her engagement sequence. Through her high-powered scope, She could now see details that had been invisible to the naked eye. The enemy snipers were indeed professionals, wearing camouflaged clothing and using advanced optical equipment. Their positions were expertly chosen and well-concealed, explaining why previous patrols had suffered such heavy casualties in this area. The sixth enemy position became apparent when its occupant adjusted his scope, the brief reflection of sunlight off the lens giving away his location in the water tower that overlooked the entire complex. This was clearly the Overwatch position, approximately 600 meters away and elevated enough to observe the entire battlefield. Taking out this sniper would blind the enemy's coordination efforts and make the others more vulnerable. Maria began her mental calculations, accounting for range, wind speed, temperature, and humidity. The morning conditions were nearly perfect for precision shooting: minimal wind, stable atmospheric pressure, and excellent visibility. Her years of training had prepared her for exactly this type of engagement, though she had never faced quite this many targets in such rapid succession. The seventh and eighth enemy positions revealed themselves as the firefight continued, both located in the industrial complex to the southwest. Their placement suggested careful planning and reconnaissance, positioned to cover approaches that weren't visible from the other sniper positions. The enemy had clearly spent significant time preparing this ambush, studying patrol routes, and identifying optimal firing positions. Captain Rodriguez continued attempting to maneuver his team to better cover, but every movement drew precise fire from multiple directions. The enemy snipers demonstrated remarkable discipline, never revealing their positions unnecessarily, and maintaining effective fire control. This level of professionalism suggested special forces training, possibly foreign military advisors working with local insurgents. Maria completed her target assessment and began prioritizing her engagement sequence. The water tower sniper posed the greatest threat due to his overwatch position and ability to coordinate the other snipers. The closer positions needed to be eliminated quickly to prevent them from discovering her location and flanking her teammates. She had perhaps 18 minutes before enemy reinforcements could arrive, based on intelligence estimates of their response times. Her first shot would need to be perfect. Once she engaged, the enemy would know there was a counter-sniper on the battlefield and would begin hunting for her position. She would have the advantage of surprise for perhaps 2 or 3 shots before they adapted to the new threat. Every shot after that would become progressively more difficult as the surviving snipers adjusted their tactics. The weight of responsibility settled on Maria's shoulders as she prepared for what would become one of the most challenging engagements of her military career. Her teammates' lives depended on her ability to eliminate 10 enemy snipers in rapid succession, all while maintaining her cover and avoiding detection by the remaining enemies. The mission that had started as a routine patrol was about to become a legendary display of precision marksmanship. Sergeant Chin's voice carried across the courtyard as he reported his ammunition status to Captain Rodriguez. The team was beginning to run low on rounds for their standard weapons, making sustained suppressive fire increasingly difficult. Time was running out, and Maria knew that her window of opportunity was rapidly closing. The enemy snipers were patient and well-supplied, content to wait for the patrol to exhaust their ammunition before moving in for the final assault. Maria settled into her firing position, her breathing controlled, and her mind focused with the clarity that came from years of specialized training. The familiar feel of the rifle stock against her shoulder and the precise reticle in her scope brought a sense of calm to the chaotic battlefield. She was about to demonstrate capabilities that would shock her teammates and devastate an enemy force that believed themselves to be in complete control. The morning sun continued its arc across the sky, casting shifting shadows that would affect her calculations for the more distant targets. Maria accounted for these changes as she finalized her engagement plan, knowing that precision and speed would determine whether her patrol survived the next 18 minutes. The abandoned warehouse complex was about to witness a demonstration of marksmanship that would become the stuff of military legend. Through her scope, she could see her first target adjusting his position in the water tower, unaware that death was already taking aim from 600 meters away. Maria's finger found the trigger as she began the breathing pattern that would steady her shot and begin the most remarkable 18 minutes of her military career. The battle was about to shift dramatically in favor of the trapped patrol, though they would not understand how or why until much later.